Oh, a new year with new social media trends, and I am loving them. And guess what? This is a little new for me. I will confess, because it's not my generation that's driving the trends anymore on social. It's Gen Z. And what they're choosing to emphasize is really energizing me and giving me new vision for what churches can do online. I can't wait to share it all with you. 2024 is going to be a great year for social ministry. Now, the first thing you need to understand is a new bit of social media lingo that really got popularized last year. The term is photo dump. If you're already familiar with this term, you might be thinking, oh, come on, Brady, obviously I know what a photo dump is. If you don't, though, allow me to explain. A photo dump is a collection of images meant to, together, communicate an overall story or mood. Very popular on Instagram and TikTok, and the idea is more than just a single shot. This series of images can paint a fuller picture. And my understanding is that originally, the idea of a photo dump was to really just open your camera roll, grab a bunch of your recent shots, and dump them all into one post. Maybe no single image there was worth a post on its own because they were just throwaway shots that you grabbed here and there, but together they showed off what life for you has looked like lately. Of course, once this format took off, it ironically yet predictably became a lot more curated and premeditated. So, the big question for us is, okay, how does this apply to churches? And as you surely know, if you've followed my content for any length of time, there are two questions I ask when assessing a creative trend and considering if it would make sense for my church. Question number one, does this align with my church's creative DNA? And then question number two, does this align with our missional purpose? The sweet spot is when you can answer yes to both questions. And the reason I'm highlighting this trend in this video is because our answer here should be a resounding yes and amen to both of those questions. Let me explain. And if you're thinking right now, Brady, my church, we don't have nice photos, we're not like that, we don't have people that can do that, just promise me, don't worry about that right now. I'll get to that later in the video. But right now, I want to talk about 3 reasons why this social media trend is a perfect fit for churches. Reason number 1, we've all heard it said before, the church is not a place, it's the people. Theologically, we have the concept of imago Dei, the fact that you and I are each made in the image of God. And so when we capture photos of the people in our church and post them on social, that is, in essence, the purest way of embodying our church online. Reason number 2, in sociology, there's a term called the third place. Perhaps you're familiar with it. The idea is simple. Basically, you and I, we all have 2 social environments. We've got home, that's the first place, work, the second place. The idea of the third place is a place in a person's life and the broader culture where you can find community, where you can see familiar faces and encounter new people, and a place that you choose to go to, not a place you visit out of obligation. Examples of third places would be cafes, gyms, community centers, and for centuries, one of the most important third places in society has been churches. And so when people that have yet to visit your church in person go to your social accounts and website and see photos of church life, photos of your people interacting with each other and worshiping and serving, they instantly get a feel for what your community is like. And then for the people already part of your church, when they see these posts on their phones throughout the week, when they're in the grind of the day-to-day, it's a beautiful reminder of that third place that is so important to them and their family. And we get to experience a bit of that sacred community even as we are scattered during the week. Finally, the third reason these types of posts are a perfect fit for church has to do with AI. Obviously we are in the midst of this movement toward artificial intelligence in so many different areas of our lives. The antidote for too much of that? Real human connection. And my belief is that the church should be on the front line of that as one of the most important third places in society. Real, sacred, human connection. It's found when we join together. That's what we do. So let's get into the specifics now. I hope I've cast the vision for you in such a way that you're at least as half as excited as I am about this direction. But how do we actually do it? I've got a formula for you. I've got examples for you. I've got a downloadable cheat sheet for you. Before we get to that, I want to be clear. The photo dump trend is really just one expression of this bigger idea. And so I wanted to come up with a broader and better term for this kind of social media post that encapsulates all that we're trying to do with it. And the word that I landed on is portraits. Portraits of the people in our church. Portraits of humanity. Portraits of the image of God. And the great thing is there are so many different creative expressions of this. Again, photo dump is really just one example, but the possibilities are limitless. That being said, every portrait can be distilled down to 3 key elements, okay? This is the 3-part formula for a portrait. The shot plus the script plus the sound equals the portrait. Because it's more than just a photo. A portrait is more thoughtful than that, more compelling. So let's get to our first example of a portrait. Take a look. All right, let's hold that example now up to our formula, the shot. Here we have a series of images of church life, worship, kids ministry, preaching, community. In just a few short seconds, we get to experience the essence of this church's in-person reality. The sound. And here we love to piggyback off of trending sounds on social platforms to help with overall distribution, but also we want to provide that emotional element. And finally, the script. Now, sometimes in a portrait, the script is overlaid on the actual imagery. You see here, see you Sunday. Sometimes it's in the caption, sometimes it's both, but we want that written verbal element to be combined with the inspiring visuals. Let's take a look at another example now.
God is great.
Is it that simple?
God is great. Don't get no simpler than that, bro.
Here we've just got one still photo of a person worshiping. The shot with the narration of God being great, the sound with the stylized on-screen captions, the script. And you'll notice the difference between this portrait and the previous example. This portrait, it's about encouragement and a reminder of God's goodness, for people going about their week locked in the grind of work and family and making ends meet, and just reminding them to keep trusting God because He's brought them this far. Now, we can take that line of encouragement and put it on any stock photo, but when it's paired with a photo of a person you recognize, the power and the potency of the content goes way up because you're reminded not just of God's promise, but of the fact that you're living out that promise in a community of people on the journey with you. You are not alone. There are people you can rely on, just as those people rely on you. And if there's any challenge that I can give you this year, especially to make portraits work, it's this. Don't spend another year relying on mass-produced templates and stock photos. Your church's social presence should actually look like your church. Don't get me wrong, stock imagery and templates are undeniably useful. I'm not saying to never use them again, not at all. Super helpful in many contexts. But for many of our churches, it's all we have. And in 2024, we need to take steps towards more meaningful and substantive social ministry. And I know you might still be thinking, Brady, we don't have photos like this. Like what you're showing in these examples, it looks great, but we can't do that stuff. Trust me, I hear you. Again, we'll get to that later in the video. Before that though, let me show you another example here. Take a look. So I love posts like this for Saturdays, the day before church, add a caption, something like, the best day of the week is tomorrow. And that idea dovetails nicely into the three categories of content for portraits. We've already talked about the three-part formula, the shot, plus the sound, plus the script equals the portrait. Let's talk about the three types of portraits overall. And again, this will all be on the PDF cheat sheet that I'm sharing with you at the end of the video. Portraits category number one is the aforementioned photo dump. And you just saw an example of that. There are limitless expressions of this, but at its core, it's really just a series of photos of church life. Portraits category number two is encouragement. This is where you're reminding people of God's promises, taking His word, combining it with visuals of His bride, and sharing that good news for the whole world to hear online. We saw an example of that type of portrait with the post that had the on-screen text and narration that God is great, it's that simple. The key with this category is there's almost always some kind of on-screen text or narration in the sound, whereas a photo dump is really just the photos. And then the third portraits category is fun. And the entire purpose of this kind of post is to bring some levity to the social feed, and we need that. And listen, I am so thankful for Gen Z on this front because they are bringing a sense of humor to church social media feeds. And when I tried it in 2010, I remember I got brought into the office of the senior leadership and they were like, what are you doing here? And I need to show you an example of this. This is the Elevation Youth Ministry account. They took one of their church's worship songs, turned it into a SpongeBob parody version, and it got 100,000 likes. Why does that matter? Because people like having fun. Fun is good. Take a look.
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you, Lord. How I need you, Lord.
Now, how might you do something like this? Well, here's a fun post that is great at highlighting a group of volunteers in your church. Take a look. So you could pair that post with the caption, "We love our worship team," so it shows love to people that give their time to your church. But it's fun also. Come on, church, have some fun. Okay, so those are the 3 categories for portraits: photo dumps, encouragement, and fun. And my hope is that those 3 categories, paired with the 3-part formula, helps give you a clearer picture of how you can begin creating portraits in your church and what elements are needed to make ones that really serve their purpose well. To help with that, I've put together a cheat sheet with all of this information on it. You just need to scan the QR code on the screen right now, or you can also click the link in the description to download the cheat sheet. And if you like it when we develop these cheat sheets to go along with the videos, can you show my team some love and hit the like button? It helps this video a ton, and it honors all of their hard work and dedication as well. Finally, let's address the elephant in the room. How do we take these photos? Maybe you don't feel your church is equipped to do it. Well, to go back to the concept of photo dumps, those are very often just shots taken on phones. And a good reminder that the device in your pocket is more than capable of capturing photos for this application. You can just leave the settings on auto. You don't need to be an expert. With that being said, I have another idea for you. And I just want to show you the responses I got from my team when I first shared this idea with them last month, because they were not sure how we were doing it. But here's the idea at its simplest. Every 90 days, we will actually send a professional photographer to your church. They will do an in-person photo shoot, capturing church life on a Sunday morning. And we will then use those photos to develop your church's custom social media portraits. Get this. Every example you've seen so far in this video is from a church where we sent a photographer to them and then used those photos to develop those posts. Every example you've seen so far is from this service. It's brand new. And in keeping with the name that I've been using throughout this video, it is called Portraits by Social Sermons. Social Sermons is our custom social media service for churches, and we're very excited to add this new product to what we do. You don't need an existing Social Sermons subscription to sign up for Portraits, and we're opening Portraits 1 week from today. So January 16th, that's next Tuesday. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or go directly to socialsermons.com/portraits to join the waiting list. To be the first to hear about it, we're gonna have limited spots available and a launch discount for 1 week only to celebrate the release of this new service. You'll wanna be on the waiting list to hear all about that first. Of course, download the cheat sheet as well, and thanks as always for your time, attention, and trust. We'll talk soon.